Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome. My name's Rebecca. I'm the founder of Hike Like a Woman and the owner of Lone Moose Ski Shop. And if you are here to learn about how to survive winter and not just survive, but thrive this winter, you're in the right spot. This is just a short little live stream. I'm going to be live here for about a half an hour, and we're going to talk about getting outside and exploring this winter safely and with confidence. And it's 4 o'clock right now. We are live right now on Facebook and YouTube, both on the Lone Moose Ski Shop and the Hike Like Woman channels, and Twitter. We were going to do a live stream on Instagram. That didn't work out today, so we are not live streaming on Instagram. But if you're joining from us from Instagram, welcome. I do have Amy monitoring the chat in the captions. So if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up there, and we're just going to dive right on in. First of all, a couple housekeeping things before we jump right into the content. Today is Veterans Day. If you are a veteran out there, I'm giving you a great big high five. Because it is Veterans Day, I do want to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, and that is the mental health of veterans, especially female veterans. I learned that female veterans are 2.5 times more likely to commit suicide than civilian females. So if you are having a sad day out there because it is Veterans Day and you might be thinking about your friends that didn't make it home, I am here for you. I want you to write down this number. Call the Veterans Crisis Line. Okay, you can head to the Veterans Crisis Line online, but that number is 988 and press 1. I'm a veteran myself, and I have called the Veterans Crisis Line and helped a veteran who was thinking about harming himself. So that is a really important resource. The other thing that's really important to me is female veterans are 40% at a 40% higher risk of developing breast cancer than civilian females. We already know that statistic is outrageous. I have learned with my own little dance with breast cancer here the past year that breast cancer is now a service-related disability. So if you're a female veteran out there and you have a breast cancer diagnosis, know that there is help for you out there if you need help. I'm married to an attorney who specializes in helping veterans with their VA disability claims. So reach out. Happy to help. Enough Veterans Day housekeeping stuff. The other thing that I want to mention really fast is that if you follow us on social media, you have probably noticed that we have been talking a lot about providing some trips and adventure travel in 2023 and 2024. If you filled out our survey, thanks so much. So far, it looks like you want to travel a lot of really cool places. So we have Yellowstone, Alaska, Iceland, Costa Rica, the Tetons, the Inca Trail, Southern Utah, all of these places that you want to travel with us in the next couple of years. I'm so excited about these locations. We're going to do our best to make sure that we can accommodate those. And it looks like spring and fall, late summer are the times you want to travel. And so stay tuned. Within the next, 3 months, month or so, we are going to be putting down all of those trips on our schedule. So, and planning them and getting them published. If you have been on a guided backpacking trip with me in the past, you know it's a lot of fun. This is going to be a little different because I'm not going to be the guide. I'm going to be the host. So it's going to be even more fun. So I'm very excited. Thank you to everyone who filled out our trip survey. If you still want to fill out that survey, there's links everywhere. Just follow the links. Okay. I want to respect your time, and you're not here to talk about veteran stuff, and you're not here to talk about international trips. You are here to learn about how to survive winter and how to have really epic winter adventures this year. And so here's why you're here. I'm going to go ahead and move my face off the screen, and we're going to start the slides here. So I get emails and DMs on a regular basis that read like this. I'm going to share an actual DM that I got from a Hike Like a Woman fan. She said, this is Ashley, and she said, I am absolutely not a winter outdoor person, but for the sake of living in Wyoming, I want to change that for my family. I have a toddler and a baby on the way. How can I make this winter manageable and doable for us, even if we are just able to get to the park for an afternoon? If this is you, this is why I'm here, and this is probably why you're here right now, and this is why Hike Like a Woman exists. This is why I spend a lot of time doing what I do here at Hike Like a Woman, because it's my whole mission in life. I feel like it's my purpose to help women get outside and explore with confidence, and I think a lot of us are the winter can just be really a really difficult time to get outside and explore, so that's what we are gonna talk about today. All right. So first, for those of you who have not met me yet, I just want to do a quick introduction. So my name's Rebecca. I mentioned I'm the founder of Hike Like Woman. I'm a former competitive ski racer. I own a ski shop, so I love winter. I'm a professional ski instructor and I love winter. I grew up in Bozeman, Montana. Is anyone joining us from Bozeman, Montana? Bozeman is totally a ski town. And in the 90s, it was even more of a ski town. Now it's just kind of like a big, crowded, expensive, messy town. But when we would get a lot of snow on the mountain, like nobody would be at school the next day, including the teachers. So that's how much of a ski town Bozeman is. And growing up, my life just revolved around winter. This is Hike Like a Woman. It really should be Ski Like a Woman because I just love the winter. But things change. Things have changed a little bit for me. So if you've been around, you know that a year ago, well, 11 months ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and and it was really sad because I love winter so much. But with this breast cancer diagnosis and going through surgery and chemo and radiation, I was just too sick to get outside. And I think I went skiing 3 times total last winter, which is really different because usually I teach between 5 and 6 ski lessons a week and ski every day. So it was really difficult for me to like sit inside feeling really sick and look out the window and just watch winter go by, and it was really, really depressing, and I think it's important to have a winter sport because I experienced not only, like, just sadness and depression from cancer in general, but I think just sadness and depression in general because I wasn't able to get outside and because I wasn't getting fresh air, I wasn't moving my body, I wasn't getting that dose of vitamin D, I wasn't doing what I loved. And so, without being able to get outside and go skiing and go hiking and do all of the things, I was really sad. And I realized that if we don't have a winter sport, if we don't have something getting us outside and motivating us to get outside in the winter, it can just be really miserable. And so this winter, I have decided that it is going to be an epic winter. And I initially wanted to teach all the ski lessons and go on all of the ski trips and go on all of the adventures. But to be honest, I'm still not feeling super awesome. And I am working full time for the first time since last December and feeling pretty tired. And so I thought, okay, how can I help people get outside and go on really fun adventures if I'm not like physically teaching ski lessons every single day? And so that's what the catalyst for this workshop is, and the catalyst for some stuff that we're going to talk about here at the end of the presentation. So that is why we're here because we want winners just to be fun and epic. So first, I want to know why you're here. So if you're in the chat there, if you're in the chat there on YouTube or Facebook, go ahead and let me know. How do you feel about winter? Do you feel happy about winter? If you feel happy about winter, if you love winter, if you're feeling like you have a really good grasp on like winter activities and winter skills, go ahead and leave me a 1 there in the comments. If you're kind of meh about winter, if it's like just something that you tolerate because it's winter, go ahead and drop a 2 there in the chat. And if you absolutely hate winter, if you just think winter is intimidating and cold and miserable and no fun, go ahead and drop a 3 there in the chat. Because I would just want to know that'll kind of help me know how to where to take this workshop today. So it looks like we have some winter lovers. Of course, Mary, yeah, and Linda. She's kind of meh about winter. So awesome. You're in the right place. Even if you're a 1, 2, 3, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about winter today. Okay, so why is this important? I think a lot of people are a little they're not crazy about winter, and I as I've been kind of surveying the Hike Like Woman community and researching, I have learned that a few things that kind of we don't like about winter, or maybe we never had warm clothes as a kid growing up, so that experience affects how we feel as an adult about winter. My husband grew up and they didn't have a lot of money and he didn't have a lot of warm clothing. And so that definitely affected how he feels about winter as an adult. Some of the other barriers to getting outside in the winter might be it's just hard to get out the door, especially if you're a parent with young children. It's just can be intimidating when you think about all of the extra clothing and extra gear that you need to get outside in the winter. That can be a barrier. Another barrier may be that you live in a place where there's a lot of snow and ice and you hate driving on icy roads. That's me. I don't particularly enjoy driving on icy roads, but I will. Maybe you don't know like where to go, what to do, what kind of gear you need. All that kind of stuff can be a barrier. And also, there's different risks. I think that there's different risks involved with winter outdoor adventures than with summer outdoor adventures. I think you add a little bit of snow, you add a little bit of ice, you add some cold temperatures, and the risk factor gets a lot more significant. So winter adventures can be really difficult. But my job here at Hike Like Woman is to take away those barriers so that you can get outside with confidence. I gotta tell you a little story though. So I mentioned before how I was a ski racer and I grew up skiing in a ski town and all of these things. Well, my husband and I served in the army, and in the army we were always stationed in really hot places. And we finished up our military career with a deployment to Iraq, where it was very very hot. And then in Southern California, Fort Irwin, California was our last duty station. We had our first child at Fort Irwin, so we had this little California baby that was born in the end of July, and he had never been cold a day in his life. Well, we left the military at the end of November and we moved to Wyoming. And, when we moved to Wyoming, we didn't have jobs, we didn't have anything, but we had bought a house online that we had never seen before. That's another story for another day, but anyway, we had purchased a house sight unseen, and that house had been vacant for several years. So there's some problems there with where we were planning on living. Anyway, we're moving from Southern California to southeastern Wyoming. We, load up the moving van, then we pack up our cars, and we drive to Wyoming, and we drive to Wyoming in a total blizzard. Like once we hit Colorado, it was like icy roads, whiteout blizzard. I had this poor little 6-month-old baby in the backseat of my car. And I remember we pulled up to our house like this shack. It was really like not even fit for human occupation, but we pulled up to it. The first time we'd seen the house, and I opened up the door, and my baby got this blast of cold Wyoming air in his face, and he didn't stop screaming for like the next 8 months. He did not like winter. He did not like Wyoming. He did not like the snow. He did not like the wind blowing in his face. He did not like to be cold. Yeah, it was rough. And rough especially because the reason that we moved back to Wyoming is because we love outdoor adventures and because my husband and I love to ski and do all of the winter outdoor things. And all of a sudden, we had this baby that did not want to cooperate at all. And so, like most parents, if you're a parent out there, you've probably experiencing something similar. We had to figure it out. We had to figure out how are we gonna like pursue this active outdoor lifestyle with this child that does not like the winter. And that's a picture of me falling down when I was skiing. We did a lot of falling with that baby, and we really had to learn how we could adapt our outdoor lifestyle to this thing called parenthood. And it was weird because something that had been so easy and so fun for us, before we had kids was suddenly really, really difficult. And frankly not very much fun. So I'd like to say that it got easy, but then something happened and I got pregnant, and that was a big surprise. And then we had another baby. So then we found ourselves with a toddler and with a baby. And things just went from bad to worse because now I was trying to figure out how to get outside with a baby and a toddler. And let me tell you, it was tough. And I'm just curious, have you ever felt like that? Have you ever felt like, suddenly something that was easy for you became hard and you had to just adapt and adjust because you didn't want to change? And that's how I felt a lot about parenthood. And that's how I felt a lot about being a parent in the winter. And I realized that I was just making things a lot more difficult. I was making getting outside with my kids a lot harder than it had to be. And so I don't know, I remember reading I love Tim Ferriss, and I remember reading, I think it was a blog post that Tim Ferriss wrote, and he said, what would this look like if it were easy? And so instead of thinking about how hard it was just to get out the door with my children in the winter, I started to ask myself the question, what would this look like if it were easy? If it were easy for me to take my kids skiing or to take my kids snowshoeing or just to take my kids to the grocery store, what would it look like if that were easy? And that kind of became my mantra with young children and outdoor adventures was like I just wanted to envision an easy adventure with them. And so here's what I learned as I was trying to figure all of this out. Um, I learned that like there were three things that were really important to getting outside in the winter. The first was my mind, what I was telling myself in my mind. The second was my body, and the third thing was skills. And we're going to talk about all of these things here in the next, 15, 20 minutes or so. But let's start with the mind. So, in my mind, when I was preparing to take my children outside, I would say things like, oh, it's so cold outside, or oh my gosh, it's so windy outside, or oh, it's really snowy outside. I don't know if I want to go outside today, or it's raining outside. I don't want to go play in the rain, or it's going to get dark soon. And so I started trying to change my mindset. And instead of saying things like, "Ugh, it's just gross outside," I would try to say things like, "It's a beautiful snowy day. It's a beautiful rainy day. It's a beautiful cloudy day. It's a beautiful muddy day." And just like rephrasing in my mind how I felt about the weather really helped me like acknowledge what I was feeling and prepare for it. And this isn't like a toxic positivity thing. This is just a change in perspective. So changing that perspective from like, "Oh, it's so cold outside," to, "It's beautiful. It's cold outside, but it's a beautiful day, and it's a beautiful day to go out and play." Um, so that really helped change how I felt about getting outside. And, so if you're here and if you struggle with like thinking about all of these things and how hard it is to get outside, and if the weather is sometimes like one of those barriers that we talked about earlier, I would challenge you to change how you feel about the weather and how you perceive the weather. And just changing it to it's a beautiful rainy day really helped me. And I think it might help you too. Okay, the next thing that I wanna talk about is your body. So hands up in the chat there if you do not like to be cold and wet. I know that I am not the only one out there who does not like to be cold and wet. I like to be warm, and I like to be comfortable, and I like to be dry, and I like to be safe. And, and so I had also had to reframe how I felt about, like, my body. And this gets a little weird, so, so bear with me here. So I things started to change for me once I shifted my perspective. And I shifted my perspective from this. I used even when I was racing, ski racing all over the world, like, I changed my perspective from seeing clothing as, like, "Is this cute? Is it a pretty color? What's the price? Like, what's the style like?" I stopped viewing clothing as, like, something pretty to put on my body. I know this is, like, so embarrassing. Instead, I started to view clothing as protection for my body. So, once I started to see clothing as protection and clothing as shelter, I started to figure out, like, I already kind of knew how to dress myself, but I started to figure out, like, especially how to dress my children when we would head into the outdoors. Um, so here's kind of an example for that. So if it's like super cold and below freezing or snowy or whatever, and you go outside without shoes on and without socks on, like what's going to happen to your feet? They're going to get frostbitten, right? And it's going to be miserable and cold and terrible. So what are those socks and shoes and boots doing? They're protecting our feet, right? So once I started to see clothing as this element of protection, everything just changed. And we wouldn't build a house or a shelter without adding insulation. And so it's the same way with dressing ourselves and our children for the outdoors. Like we don't want to build that foundation without any insulation. Um, so when it comes to dressing to get outside, and I'm not gonna make this a class all about layering systems. I've done YouTube videos about layering systems, and we're gonna do some online classes this winter that talk all about like clothing and what to wear and how to wear it and where to get it and how to buy it on a really tight budget and all of those things. But when it comes to dressing year round, it's not just a winter thing. I like to think about burritos. Do we have any burrito lovers in the chat? I love burritos. In fact, we're gonna have burritos for dinner at my house. So come on over. But I think about burritos. So if you think about like your body as a burrito, bear with me here. Like the inside of the burrito is all the good stuff, right? You have like the warm beans and the cheese and like the onions and some veggies and all the tomatoes, the salsa, all like the delicious thing like wrapped up inside that shell. And that shell is like what keeps the whole burrito in there, what keeps it like warm and happy. And then on that shell, then you add all the toppings, right? So then you add some guacamole and some sour cream and a little more salsa and maybe a little more cheese and all those things. And so I think about clothing like I think about burritos, right? So we have all the good stuff against our body, like all that good food, all the good stuff against our body, keeping us warm and dry. And we want to stay dry when we're layering up, right? Because we don't want to get wet and cold. So like the inside is like all the those layers keeping us warm and dry. The outside is that shell. That's that protectant layer. That's that wind resistant, water resistant layer that's going to protect us, right? Protect our shelter from the elements. And then we top it all off with sunglasses and hats and mittens and scarves and hats and gaiters and boots and like all of the toppings. So that is how I feel about our body in a nutshell, or I should say in a soft tortilla shell. So yeah, layering's really important, clothing's really important, and we're going to talk about that more in some online classes, but I just wanted to briefly mention burritos. So maybe the next time you're struggling with trying to figure out what to wear, you just think about burritos. Sound good or weird? Yeah, I don't know. All right, let's keep moving on. The next strategy that helps me get outside and still helps me get outside is having some skills and feeling really confident in the outdoor skills that I have, right? And so there are some special and unique skills that I think can be tailored and tweaked toward, like specifically towards outdoor adventures in the winter, right? Some smaller, like more art than science type skills, right? So, one of those skills for my family is we love to go moonlight skiing. If there's a full moon, we love to take off on our skis and turn off our headlamps and just follow the light of the moon reflecting off of the snow. It's really magical, really powerful, really beautiful. But there is a lot of preparation that goes into night skiing with children. So learning how to prep food and and drinks and gear and all those things for moonlight skiing is really important. And if you wanna try moonlight skiing, one thing that my family likes to do is we like to take a Jetboil, so a canister stove, like a Jetboil or a Primus, there's a ton of brands out there, and we like to have a picnic in the parking lot either before we ski or after ski and, like, heat up some soup or some hot chocolate or some tea, and just, like, have a winter picnic. It's really special, really magical. If you take our online course this winter, I'll show you how to do that. But that's one of the skills that we've acquired, just trying to think of fun ways to get outside in the winter. Here's some more skills. Persuading your friends to join you, that could be a skill, right? Especially if it's a cold, wintry day. Um, I have actually found though that most of the time people want to join you on a winter adventure because it's intimidating to like plan it yourself. So if you can bring a friend along, a lot of times friends want to go with you. So we'll talk about community there. Another skill would be planning for road closures. This just happened to me on Sunday. My husband and I, our family, went on a little vacation to the town on the other side of the mountain. Usually they close this mountain pass during the winter, but it was still open, but there was a massive snowstorm, so we left that town and we drove over the mountain, and it was like icy roads, whiteout winter conditions, and my husband and I were like, I wonder if they're gonna close the gates after us, like, I wonder if the gates are gonna get closed and we're gonna be, like, stuck on the mountain," because the roads were really gnarly, and so that's something to think about in the winter if you live in a cold, snowy place is, like, how do you plan around road closures, road conditions, all of those things. Some other skills we can talk about are like, how do you fix your equipment and your gear if you're out on a backcountry ski tour and you're 5 miles from the trailhead and you break your pole? What are you going to do? That's another outdoor skill that's important to have. Um, Another skill is like expecting the unexpected. So then you're prepared for almost anything. I think that the unexpected tends to happen more often in the winter than it does in the summer, just because things are a little more unpredictable. Maybe some more skills are if you have babies, like breastfeeding on the side of the trail in the winter, like let's say you're skiing or snowshoeing or winter hiking and you got a baby and you're nursing that baby and that baby needs to eat. Well, one thing that I like to do is I never liked to lift my shirt up when I was backcountry skiing to nurse my children because I didn't want like a cold belly exposed. So what I did was I just took an old pair of base layers that I got at a thrift store and I just cut a little slit right above each nipple so that my base so that all I had to do was like pull down my bra and then slip things out there and then I could nurse my babies without having to like expose too much of my body to the elements. And it totally worked. But here's the thing about these outdoor skills, like there's not a how-to manual. Nobody's talking about these things. And so these are things that we just learn along the way. And so that's one thing to try if you're nursing a baby this winter. That's a skill. That's a little trick, a little tip that worked great for me and my family. Here's another skill, putting on snowshoes, putting on micro spikes. Like that's not always so easy. It's easy to put on snowshoes in your garage or your living room if you're testing them out. But once you get to the trailhead and it's windy and it's cold and all of those things, like it adds an element of complexity that we're not always prepared for. Here's another skill that is actually really recent for me and my family. So 2 years ago, my children, wanted to ride the ski lift alone, and having, like, the confidence that they're not gonna get too crazy on the lift and fall off, but having the courage to, like, let your children get on the ski lift when you're downhill skiing alone is that's a big, big parenting milestone. And we can talk through those emotions and what it feels like and how to prepare your children to ride the ski lift alone. Just another outdoor skill that's really cool. And another one for the parents out there, what about potty training? Like, what about going skiing and snowshoeing with a child that is being potty trained? That adds a whole new element to things. But there's ways to do it, and that's something that we're going to talk about in our online class here. Here's what I've learned about outdoor skills. So we talked about the mind, like having that mindset that it's not a cold, horrible day outside. It's like a beautiful day outside and we're going to go out and play, right? Having that mindset, knowing how to take care of your body, how to dress your body, how to stay warm and comfortable, and then having some of these skills is really important because you don't learn if you don't go. So you can't It's easy to, like, sit here and think about all of these things, but really the best way to learn them is to get out on the trails, but that requires, like, some education and some confidence and all of those things, and here at Hike Like a Woman, I wanna help you, like, learn these outdoor skills, so if there's an outdoor skill you wanna learn, go ahead, drop it in the comment below, and then that'll help us, like, schedule some YouTube videos, social media posts, whatever we need to do to help you get outside and explore with confidence this winter. And here's how I feel about safety too, because we talked a little bit earlier about how all safety plays into all of these things and managing risk can be really difficult in the wintertime. And so I think like mindset, knowing your clothing and your gear, having these skills, that actually makes it a lot less risky to get outside in the wintertime and a lot more fun because you're going to be feeling safe. It's hard to feel like you can have a good time if you're worried about the risks. So, safety, risk management, those things are all important and things we're going to talk more about here. All right. So now I want to kind of just transition a little bit and tell you about three online classes and then a community that we're putting together for the winter. So hang on with me here. I'm going to just talk about a few online classes. So if you want to learn some outdoor skills, this is your chance. All right. So this winter, we are forming what we're calling the Winter Adventure Club. And it is our goal with the Winter Adventure Club to help everyone get outside and explore safely with confidence and to work on the things like mindset, to learn about like what to put on our bodies, what kind of gear we need, and to like develop those skills that we talked about. And so the Winter Adventure Club, you have this option to join us. You can either join our private Facebook group, and that's just the Winter Adventure Club. Or you can take an online class or three online classes with us. So we're offering three online classes. The first one is Winter Adventures with Young Children. The second online class we're offering is Winter Hiking and Snowshoeing for Beginners. And the third online class we're offering is Cross Country Skiing for Beginners. So you can choose one online class, you can choose all three online classes, or you can make a small investment and join us in our private Facebook group just for community support, motivation, all the fun stuff. So here's some bonuses that we're going to offer. So if you're interested in joining the Winter Adventure Club and you join, you're also going to get some of these bonuses. So we have a winter mindset audio training that is ready to go right now. So if you join those courses right now, you have access to that audio training. You'll also get to be part of our Winter Adventure Club private Facebook group. And that group is active right now through the end of April. And then we're going to archive it for next winter. But in that group, you're going to find community support. We're also going to be doing a ton of giveaways. I'm going to be giving away over $1,000 worth of outdoor clothing and gear, you guys. It's going to be awesome. Q&A live streams, all sorts of fun things in that private Facebook group. You're also going to get a winter gear guide, and this is going to be like a no fluff, no bullshit. Like this is going to be actual based off of gear that my family uses in the winter, and it's going to be like the real deal. And we're also going to talk about how to acquire winter gear and clothing on a budget because hey, I know that things are tight right now. Things are tight at my house, and so the whole goal is to help you get outfitted for outdoor winter adventures on the cheap. And we also talked about the giveaways as part of the Winter Adventure Club. Here's a little bit about pricing. So, I have found that when I offer things for free, like people like, I don't know, it's just different. So I think there has to be a little bit of an investment so you actually get through the program and the curriculum. So here is the pricing for all three of those online classes. The cross country skiing for beginners class is $99. Snowshoeing and winter hiking for beginners is $39, and winter adventures with children is $29. I've made those prices as low as I possibly can. For example, if you take a private cross country ski lesson with me, I charge $150 for a 45-minute lesson. So you're going to get a lot out of that. If you want to like learn all three of those things and join us for like the whole and like the whole burrito, the full enchilada, 139 bucks. And that that's how much it would be if you wanted to take all 3 of those courses with us this winter. But that's some special preseason pricing. We're gonna raise the prices a little bit after the 18th, so there's some incentive to join right now. Here's what we're gonna learn. So if you wanna learn how to cross-country ski, there are going to be 3 lessons that we're gonna teach. They're all gonna be video lessons with PDF workbook accompanying them, and a ton of videos. So the first lesson is gonna be on cross-country ski equipment. We're gonna talk skis, boots, bindings, poles, budget shopping for gear. I'm gonna tell you how to fit gear, all everything you need to know about cross-country ski equipment. Now, this is just touring equipment. We're not gonna talk about skate skiing in this class, but if you wanna talk about skate skiing, we can do that, in another class in the future. We're also gonna talk about clothing, like what to wear when you go cross-country skiing. We're gonna talk about packing and planning for cross-country skiing. And then we're gonna get into virtual ski lessons. So these are going to be videos of me actually skiing and showing you all of these different techniques. I'm gonna teach you how to do kick and glide, so basic diagonal stride technique. I'm gonna show you how to go uphill because cross-country skiing is different than downhill skiing. You don't have a lift to take you up the mountain. You gotta climb that hill yourself. So I'm gonna show you how to go uphill on cross-country skis. I'm gonna show you how to double pole. So that's a technique where your poles hit the snow at the same time, very fast and very efficient. I'm gonna teach you that technique, and then I'm gonna teach you how to go downhill on cross-country skis. That's fun, and you're gonna love it. The cool thing about the cross-country ski lesson is that I'm not where you are. I can't give you an in-person lesson unless you're here in southeastern Wyoming or northern Colorado. But what you can do is I'm going to give you access to me. So if you go out cross-country skiing, or maybe you're at a ski shop and you have a question about some gear, all you got to do is take a picture, take a video, send it to me, and I will give you feedback on that video within 24 hours. So if you want to go skiing and want some pointers on your technique, it's all you gotta do is upload a video and I will record a video back talking about a few ways that you can tweak your technique for maximum efficiency. It is like the closest that I can come to teaching an in-person lesson, and I'm really excited about this format. If you want to learn how to go winter hiking and snowshoeing, here are the lessons that we're going to have 4 lessons. Here's information about each lesson. Lesson 1 is going to be about equipment. So we're going to talk snowshoes, traction devices, trekking poles, budget shopping for gear. I'm going to talk through all the different snowshoe brands and models and what to look for when you buy snowshoes and traction. We're going to talk about clothing, packing, and planning. And then I'm going to get on the snow again and I'm going to teach you how to snowshoe. So I'm going to show you how to adjust your snowshoe bindings, how to put your snowshoes on, how to walk with your snowshoes, how to use your traction devices like your Yak Trax or your micro spikes. I'm going to teach you how to use your poles, like what length your poles should be if you use poles in the winter, how to put your poles on properly and safely. I'm going to show you how to use your snowshoes on different techniques. So uphill, downhill, flat, all of the different types of terrain. And then lesson 4 is going to be a really special lesson where we're going to talk about cold weather safety and risk management. I'm really excited for this. I have to be honest, like I'm more of a skier than a snowshoer. I love to ski, but I also like snowshoeing is really important. And my family goes snowshoeing deliberately several times a year. And so I'm excited to also talk a little bit about snowshoeing and snowshoe equipment. The final lesson, this is you guys, this is the lesson. If you are a parent, a grandparent, a babysitter, a caregiver, a nanny, and the thought of getting outside with children in the winter is completely intimidating and scary, I'm right there with you, but this lesson is gold. It is going to be amazing. So the first lesson we're going to talk about is clothing, packing, and planning for children of all ages. We're going to talk about a few tips and tricks for happy and warm parenting. Because, if mom ain't happy, no, I hate it when people say that. But anyway, it's important that parents are happy and warm on the trails because our attitude affects how our children feel when they're out on the trails too. And then we're going to talk about age specific adventures. So specifically, we're going to talk about like dressing and like adventures for every different age group, from pregnancy to babies, toddlers, preschoolers, elementary age, and then tweens. I have an 11-year-old now, and he is definitely a tween. I'm always like, get off your phone. And then I'm like, why did you buy him a phone, Rebecca? Anyway, we're going to talk about all of those things age specific. And then lesson four, nobody ever talks about this, but there are certain safety and risk management things that are especially important for children and babies. And we're going to talk about those. Nobody's talking about that stuff, but it's really, really important that our children are safe when we take them into the backcountry. Okay, so those are just a quick outline of all three of those classes. You can buy one, you can buy three, you can just join the private Facebook group, whatever. I do want to talk a little bit about why is this important and why this is important to me. This is what someone said who has been doing a lot of winter adventures with me, and her name is Jay. She asked not to be um, um, not to she wanted to be a little anonymous here, but she said, before I met Rebecca, I was scared to take my children hiking. We hiked all with her all summer long, and then she introduced us to cross country skiing. Being able to ski together as a family has changed the way we look at winter. It's not dreaded anymore. She gave me confidence. And like that's not just about me. That's about why I do what I do, because it's so important for me. I feel like the outdoors has been a place where I have sought a lot of peace and comfort. It's a place where I've gotten strong physically and mentally. And it's been a place where I've helped my family and my children learn these amazing outdoor skills. And I just want to share that with you. Um, because I think once you have these outdoor skills, then you can transform your own life and you can help your community. You can help your friends. You can be that person that they go to when they have questions about getting outside. And I think that's just beautiful. That's part of community. And that's why I'm here at Hike Like a Woman. So why should you listen to me? I don't know. So here's a little bit about me and why I feel strongly about winter adventures. So I'm a professional ski instructor, America certified. I have some biathlon official certification. I've been skiing for 42 years. I put that on the slide, and my husband made fun of me, and he was like, "But you're only 43." And I was like, "I know, but I've been skiing for 43 years." So anyway, I've been skiing forever, and I just love skiing, and I love getting outside. I've also been teaching ski lessons and coaching cross country skiing for over 20 years. And you might not know this about me, but I actually spent a decade of my life training to make the Olympic biathlon team. I'd never made the Olympic team, and I never even came close to making the Olympic team. I was 12th in the nation, but I spent a lot of time racing and training all over the world. And so I just love to ski, and that's what I'm passionate about. Um, if you're interested in registering for any of these classes, all you got to do is head over to our website, hikelikeawoman.com. You will see a new tab there. It's called Learn with Rebecca. Click Learn with Rebecca, and that's information about all of our online classes this winter. The classes are going to be open. So let's say maybe you don't want to join right now, but you want to save up a little bit of money and then join. They're going to be open all winter long. So you can join anytime. The sooner the better, of course, so you can take advantage of that discount. But go check it out. And then here's some really important dates for you to know. So our Facebook group is open now. So if you don't want to take a class but just want to join the community, you can do that. Just head over to Learn with Rebecca and click the tab there. The sale ends on the 18th. And then our lessons are going to be open on December 1st. So on December 1st, you will have access to every single lesson. You don't have to wait for like lesson two to be released or lesson three or lesson four. You're going to have access to all of the videos and all of the PDF workbooks. And then we're doing some giveaways. So I mentioned before that we're giving away like $1,000 worth of outdoor clothing and gear. So we're going to be doing a giveaway in our private Facebook group on the 15th of every single month through April 15th. And then we're going to have a huge end of season party. So, small investment, but it's going to be worth it to join such a cool community of people who are getting outside and just getting after it this winter. Okay. So that is the end of my spiel, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I have a couple more minutes before I need to go make some burritos for dinner. So if you have any questions, go ahead and pop them in the comments. I'll stick around for just a few more minutes and answer those questions. You can ask me anything. I'm an open book. If you want to learn more, have questions about the online classes, if you have questions about the Facebook community, anything at all, go ahead and drop it in the comments below. And if you don't have time right now, because I know that it is getting late, you can always reach out and find me hikelikeawoman@gmail.com, or send me a DM here on Facebook or Instagram. Amy is my helper. She's amazing, and she's our digital media manager. And so she will probably be the one getting back to you. But if you have something specifically for me, just go ahead and send it, and she'll send it my way. Leslie had a question: how many inches of snow before it's safe to cross country ski? It kind of depends what's underneath the snow, Leslie. So if you're like at a golf course and you're skiing on grass, you honestly don't need more than a couple of inches. But if you're like on a mountain trail with lots of rocks and dirt underneath, you need a lot more than that, just enough to cover all of the rocks and all of the dirt. You don't want to damage the bases of those skis, or you do. It's fine. They're rentals, right? Leslie actually was here a couple last week, no, 2 weeks ago, and she took some skis from my shop home to Iowa. So I'm very excited to see how her winter goes. So yeah, you don't need a ton of snow to cross country ski if you're going to just be skiing over grass. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining me. I'm going to sign off now. Questions, hit me up. Thanks so much. And I hope to see you in our online classes or in our Facebook community this winter. Thanks so much. We'll see you.